Hello again, everyone. Matthew Janisek. We're going to talk tonight about a very cool topic that I love to discuss, and that would be the Declaration of Independence. We are going to discuss that within the context of some fundamental truths that need revisitation and understanding by the people if the people are to understand the proper relationship between the government and the governed. So here's another fundamental truth lesson, that the Declaration of Independence is likely one of the most, and arguably, one of the most important documents ever written in Western civilization. This document would codify comprehension of the permanent relationship that was to now exist between governments and citizens. It was a manifestation of Enlightenment ideas as a byproduct of the European Renaissance. The American colonies, after 150 so odd years of colonial development and self-government and a multi-generation understanding of self-reliance in essentially the American wilderness, was going to give the American colonials a pretty good, solid foundation for independence. That relationship between the British and the American colonists just grew into greater differences, and that's another lesson entirely. But by the time 1776 rolls around and it is time to declare our independence, we had to clearly explain the reason that the American colonies were going to be doing this, in spite of the fact that Great Britain was the most democratic, progressive, liberal nation on the earth at the time. And although when we look back and compare it to what we're used to at the time, Great Britain was the best country in the world in terms of protecting individual liberty and abuses by the government and the rule of law. So a clear explanation of why we were going to change this relationship was necessary. The self-evident nature, we hold these truths to be self-evident. Jefferson's lines in the Declaration, all men are created equal. This is the starting point, definitely not the finishing point in American history, but the starting point of the most major fundamental premise that we all should even believe in today, that all men and women are created equal in the eyes of God. And they're all entitled to fundamental rights that are inalienable. They cannot be taken away by the government itself. These natural rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, as Jefferson translated that, would be rights that are inherently granted by God to every individual, and that a government exists to protect those rights for the people. The people give the government consent. And that concept of consent of the governed is we, the people, have ultimate power. The reasons for separating from Great Britain also needed to be stated in a way that the American colonists and colonial leaders were not taking this situation lightly, that after a long train of abuses and usurpations, as Thomas Jefferson discusses that, it is our obligation, it is our duty to throw off abusive government and replace it with a system that functions to protect our fundamental liberties as we the people. That relationship and that understanding of power resting with a citizenry is definitely one that is challenged today quite significantly. And what the Founding Fathers did that was so unique and why the American Revolutionary experience is so unique in world history is because the American Revolution was led by wealthy people. It was led by the elite, the people in society that on a spreadsheet would not have any reason to rebel and upend the system that had created their own success. But what the American Revolution symbolized is that this group of men would gather and convene and decide that they would pledge their lives, their fortune, and their sacred honor in signing the Declaration of Independence, knowing full well that if this enterprise failed, the American Revolution experiment failed, they would be executed. Okay. Ben Franklin saying, one of the great lines, we must all hang together or we will all hang separately. So in this quest, so a great line, and this Declaration of Independence was going to require unity. And that's the irony, is unity in liberty. Unity in liberty is a concept that's complicated. The community needs individuals, and it needs righteous individuals. And a community that is good can only function if the individuals in it are good. And if they understand that proper relationship between the government and the governed, and to recognize when power is being abused, and then to know what to do about it. And that's going to be another one of our lessons here shortly, is the Bill of Rights. We'll see you next time. Take care.